Hi everyone, this is Killshot99 Gaming. This is Fear the Walking Dead Season 5, Episode 10, our bold prediction stream. Looking forward to talking to all you guys tonight. Not going to be a super long stream. I'll go into some details just in a little bit. Before we get started, do want to give a shout out to all the patrons. You can see them up on the screen. Thank you so much for everything that you guys do. And we are one day away from also Freestyle Friday and the early showing of Fear the Walking Dead. So a lot of stuff going on. Just had a super long week, everybody, and did want to hang out for a little bit with you guys. Did also have an announcement. This just popped up a couple minutes ago. How many people knew that it's a big deal to use the tones from the FCC emergency broadcast system? So apparently Jimmy Kimmel just got fined $300,000 for his show. Also, The Walking Dead, one of their shows, was it Omega, I think? Might have been Omega that I read. But one of its lowest performing episodes ever got fined. It was $100,000 for them using you can't use the 3 beeps. So if you guys do any videos on the side, do not use the emergency broadcast system, because that's a big thing. So you can't trick people or use it in comedy skits or anything. Yeah, I just saw that a little bit ago. So, right, Kill, it has been a long week. I do have a couple bullet points we're going to talk about tonight. So, once again, and a few people, how many people got the notification for tonight's stream? I posted it a little bit later than normal, so many of you might not have gotten it early. Okay. Cool. All right, most did. YouTube is doing its job. So we're going to start out with a couple of the synopsis that was out there was Morgan and Grace search an abandoned shopping mall. Morgan and Grace been spending a lot of time together. They fulfill a dying man's wish, and Dwight's resolve to be a better man is going to be tested. So the Dwight situation to me looks a little bit obvious. So I feel like Dwight's going to have some anger, going to do a little bit of killing. But this particular picture, what was neat about this is both of them sort of have that kind of smile, and I know you've been through a lot, you're changing. So I'm going to bet, my bold prediction is Dwight's kind of giving him, hey, I know what I was and I know what you know of me, but I'm a changed man speech. Doesn't it kind of feel like that? And Morgan's just like, hey, prove it. You can say it, but you just got to go out and kind of live it daily. But then if Dwight's resolve is going to be tested, then when, we see that one scene, I don't know if you guys saw the preview, where they have a gun put to the back of his head, like a rifle, and then they knock him down. So Dwight is going to have to, if he's kidnapped, he's going to have to kill somebody, I feel like. Maybe that's the way he's going to get out. And the real interesting thing about these zombie apocalypses, not that I've ever personally been in one, but it seems like you can't be on one side or the other. You can't be like, I'm never going to kill and I'm giving up on all that. But then you can't be violent, because let's look at people that have done that in the past. Remember Carol when she went to the kingdom? That was a result of her killing everybody. Carol was just going ballistic. She was, couldn't hold her back. And then all of a sudden she felt so bad about it, it's like, I can't kill anybody. Well, Morgan did the same thing. Like, Morgan's been beast mode a couple times, and now it's that middle ground. And was it Jesus that told him, use the sharp side for walkers and use the blunt side for people, so he didn't have to kill people? I think that was Jesus that said that. That was his big contribution to the show. What an underused character he was. So also, You can see Emmy there saying Viola. Hope she had a wonderful birthday. So I know we gave the birthday shout outs on the Facebook fan page, but just want to recognize Viola as well. Hopefully you had a wonderful birthday, Viola. And also, if you guys could do me a favor, and the green team, just flash some emojis. Our two super fans, Hippo is in the house, and also Wilson. So I didn't see Wilson yet, so at least if Wilson watches the playback, I do want to give those guys a shout out. All right, let's get into some, because I could talk both shows or some of the PDL all night long, but I do want to get into some of the predictions. I know I've gotten some messages about PDL, so we will be doing. All right, before we get into predictions, we will be doing Freestyle Friday tomorrow. We gave away a ton of kills coins, and we will be doing another Play Dead Live scenario. It's going to be our third different scenario. It'll be brief, but I'm going to give a couple people who won kills coins the chance to use your kills coins to get involved in the scenario. So if you haven't been picked for the last couple scenarios and you want a kills coin, you can say, hey, let me use this right now. I want to play. I want to be involved. So if you missed the first couple, we had Will the Builder with the claw hammer, and we also had Sheila the one-armed bandit Beasley. And Saturday we're going to be going with a few people. I've assembled a small group. We're going to start going over some of the gameplay rules, and I'll be reaching out to some of you as well to see if you guys want to be involved in some committees and help with further development of the game. All right, so the big prediction that we made a couple days ago, and most of you thought Grace is a goner. Like Grace, it's going to happen sooner rather than later. A couple people said Grace is just going to get sicker, but a couple went full, Grace is going to die. I think Grace is going to die too. I think we're going to get two things. I feel like we're going to get the Grace death and the Samora intro. You guys think that's too soon? That it won't be until maybe 11? But the name of the episode is 210 words a minute. And that seems like a Samora statistic, doesn't it? I mean, it could be something way out there, but the way she likes to keep up with specific numbers, just kind of had that feel to it. Dwight is going to do some fast talking. You think Dwight will be talking 210 words a minute? Julie McGuire, I love it. I will say this a million times. Someone better die soon. Yeah, this is the longest stint that I can remember of a Walking Dead season or series that somebody hasn't died. We tune in for the death, right? Well, it does appear to be leaning that, because I think Andrew Chambliss said one of the problems is they're starting to grow so fast, and this group can't live in a convoy traveling place to place. So I'm pretty sure in the article it might be June who says that. Maybe she says it this week. But one of the things that we talked about on Tuesday night is that nobody's in charge of this group. There's really no leader. So the more people you add and the less structure you have, the bigger problem that you're going to have. You know what I do like, Julie? I like to see where you guys stand on shows and death and love and all of those things. So just for my own personal knowledge, when we do Play Dead Live scenarios, You guys want to see some death in that? You guys want to see some of our characters make bad decisions and be penalized for it? Because it's going to happen. We are definitely going to test that. Okay, I just want to see where everybody stands on it. So I've got a couple of bold predictions. I think the Grace death, Dwight Morgan conversation, a little bit more skid mark, and a couple more Logan clues and the Logan storyline developed. I think we need that as much as we need some death on the TV show. We got to find out. Logan has been there way too long and done absolutely nothing. We've got to see what he belongs to. Even the gasoline story. Did you guys feel a little bit cheated about, how the mid-season finale, we thought that we were, they're going to go to a cave or a tunnel and we're going to see something and find something. And basically, we got to acknowledge that it happened and see Logan get thrown out of the back of a truck. So I felt like that was a little bit rushed. Yeah, see, Darkstar, I agree with that. I mean, wasn't that the big cliffhanger in episode 8? Hey, a couple weeks from now, Logan shows up and he's going to cut this deal, and his whole thing is how you're running out of gas and the gas is going bad, and I've got this supply, and then we're told, he tried to trick them, but we didn't really see how he tried to trick them. What did he do? And wasn't it Lucy? Luciana said, the famous phrase. And, what did she say to Logan? She goes, well, how do we know that we can trust you? And we all talked about that night. And once again, I'm not going to be negative, but I am going to state the facts if you guys don't mind. Any objection to me stating the facts? Because I caught some heat for this. I was very critical of the mid-season finale. And there were other YouTubers that I heard of. I didn't listen to them, but I got messages and said, I don't understand why you hate Fear so much, why you're so negative. Such and such said it was one of the best episodes that they saw. So I didn't take my foot off the gas, but I did say, you know what? Okay, maybe this oil field, this gas thing, that it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun in the second half. I can't wait to see episode number 9 when it comes back. And nothing from it. Princess Pie, Super Chat, I have a question about Fear. What are you expecting for that people give a kick to the show? Make people excited about it because I'm really close to give up on it. So, Princess Pie, I think that's a fair statement. And I think it's a real statement. Before I answer that, though, here's the thing that I want to say. There are certain people that talk about this show that always play devil's advocate. Right? You are hyped up about it, and if they overly critique it, it causes people to get involved and write comments and stir the pot a little bit, and vice versa. So I know Julie McGuire is going to say, I need some epic death. Right, Julie? I mean, I'm with you on that. But to answer Princess Pie's question, what would I do if I'm writing it? Well, kind of what they're doing right now. Just a lot faster. The biggest problem that I think we have with fear characters is we don't have a deep-rooted connection. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to make you give a damn about some of the characters. And many people don't. No, and Ellis, I mean, I think that's, no offense intended here, but that might be the most overstated argument that I've ever seen. And many people make that argument, that fear is not The Walking Dead. Doesn't have to be The Walking Dead. But it also has to do things to engage an audience, no matter what you are. Because Ellis, Passage wasn't The Walking Dead either. And Passage had a pretty decent storyline, but they couldn't re-sign it. And I think that with fear, we're attached to it. We give it the benefit of the doubt. We like it because it's off season. But they're not picking up a new audience. So you got to either do one of two things. You either have to pick up a new audience or keep your current audience from gradually deteriorating. Today it might be Julie McGuire. Tomorrow it might be Princess Pie. Then it might be Ellis. Then it might be Kills. I mean, that's the risk that you run into if you don't have a good pulse of your viewers. And I think there are times they do things on this show that absolutely blow you away. Like, yes, I'm going to give you a few examples of things that, I mentioned some of these the other day, things that are really cool. But it doesn't always resonate with the viewers, but then we talk about it, you go back and it's like, yeah, that was pretty cool. I thought the water park was cool. With Alicia and, I don't know who she was at the time, was it Laura? Naomi, June, whatever. But I thought the water park was pretty cool. It was something a little bit different. But I guess here's the thing. It was the entire show. And I think what fear does is they get a cool concept and they make it the whole theme. The Walker tornado was cool. The alligators were definitely cool. The hot air balloon, different. I don't know if I'm going to give the hot air balloon cool, but definitely different. So they keep coming up with these new creative ways to do things. And I don't think it's like watching something good at that moment, but it doesn't create a permanent, lasting connection. The landmine, same thing. And I'm not trying to seem I want to use the right word here. I'm not trying to seem arrogant with what we're doing with our gameplay. Because Fear the Walking Dead it's a multi-million-dollar franchise. It's huge. But when we mention things like the hot air balloon, It's like a flash. But when you have like some of these gaming moments like we talked about, there's a connection. So how many, let me give you kind of a test run. How many people felt a real connection with Rick Grimes? Not everybody liked Rick, but most people are going to say, yeah, I feel like there's a connection there. How many people felt a connection with Carl? Even if you didn't love Carl's character, how many people felt like you understood Carl's character and you didn't agree with everything he does? I did. I didn't love Carl's character, but I get it. I mean, I watched him grow up. Okay. Good answers. All good answers. How many people feel a connection with Luciana? Who? How about Strand? Daniel? Alicia? You know, a couple people here, a couple people there. Okay. I got one more example. How many people in this stream feel a connection to Will the Bill? Steph the Cuervo Queen. Okay, so when we did a gaming scenario that had Will the Bill and Steph in that gaming scenario, it felt like it was more real to you because you see them, you understand them, there's a development there. So of the examples, you've got Rick who you feel a connection to, you've got Carl who you feel a connection to, you've got people in Fear the Walking Dead that they haven't been able to really get that connection. And I guess the big question is why? And I'm going to check on a couple comments here. So I'm going to give you a fourth example. How many people watched The Passage? I know many of you did because you were a part of the streams. How many people really liked Amy and felt an immediate connection to Amy, to Amy's character? And I'm not here to downplay Fear the Walking Dead. what I'm saying to ultimately answer Princess Pie's super chat and give advice at the same time. That's all they need to do. All they need to do is find characters that we feel something for. Because if we feel something for those characters, we're going to feel sad when they die, if they ever die. If we feel something for those characters, we're going to cheer them on when they do something that we like. We got Valar in the house. What's up, Valar? Hello, 999 Army. Kill, Steph, Kels, Emmy, Sweet Tommy, sponsors, Patreons, channel members, and all super chatters. And Goucher in the house. What's up, Goucher? Good to see you. And if I don't get a chance to call on all your comments, we are going to watch these during the playback. So, RJ wants to know what's the feeling. It doesn't have to be any particular feeling. It needs to be a feeling that incites an emotion. I'll give you a fifth example, right after I get to Princess Pie Super Chat. I think at one point we have to take the entertainment and not expect The Walking Dead action and fear. It's a different purpose, loving the storyline. They try to get us attached to the characters. Am I right? I think, yes, they do. Not completely successfully. So, I'm going to give away a Kills coin to the first person who can tell me. You got to be quick on this one. A lot of people are going to get this. For the last 3 years, what have I said Fear the Walking Dead needs? What is it we need? What is it we have to have? What is it that is going to solve a lot of these problems that I keep hoping and praying that they're working toward? There's one thing that solves this. Tammy Heitzman, first person to type it. A villain. All they need is a villain. Kel, make sure you get Tammy on the Kills coin list. In fact, because that was typed so fast, let's give away the first three. Tammy Heitzman, Tom B., and Angel Caloris, all three of you guys, Kills coins for that answer. I knew it was going to be a fast hand. Steph added an element. She says, a sexy villain. There's a little extra there. So, back to RJ's point. Back to Princess Pie's point. You're all kind of right. So, how many people tuned in at first to hate Negan? You hated him. He just killed your favorite character. He just destroyed Glenn and Abraham. And you can't wait to see the group get revenge on him. Episode after episode, you got to tune in to see how they're going to get him back. Because they have to get him back, right? Look at what you can do with a villain. You can make them evil. You can make people watch to see what's going to happen to them. And you know what? You can convert them later on and have them fight against the next villain. You got all kind of neat things you can do with that. So for the longest time, I've thought Fear waited too long to get a good villain. Also, I think what they're doing is the correct thing. But because it's hard to do in a second show, because it's hard to, with the style that they do it, they make the show about, it's a little bit more uplifting. Honestly, if you take a step back and look at it, it's not always about failing and dying. It's about ways of working together, helping people, and succeeding. It's almost like the opposite, but it has a name, Fear. So it should be uplifting The Walking Dead, which is okay. And they do make it funny, and they do make it convenient. And for them to change that it's a journey. And I won't say that they've kept their entire viewer base while they've done this. In fact, I know they haven't. I know they've lost people. It doesn't make it a bad show. It's a good show as far as I'm concerned. It just means that it's not for everybody. And as we stated, when you have 5 people or 7 people or 9 people, and Julie, I'm sorry, you can't kill any of them. They don't have enough of a cast. The problem they don't have enough people that we care about to kill any of them. And now we got to wait for them to build up more people to kill some of them. So build them up, get a villain in the background, and then let the villain kill somebody we care about if we care about that person. Princess Pie, we hate Negan because he has the best villain introduction. And there was something creepy and disturbing about that Negan introduction. No doubt about it. And it was expected that Alpha would be more creepy and worse than Negan, and even that wasn't. So, I'm just going to ask this question. If Negan potentially is the best villain in The Walking Dead TV show up to this point, if Negan were to be written off the show or to go in a different direction, how many people would tune in to see an evil Negan on a different TV show? It's a slippery slope, isn't it? Because depending on like your taste in movies and your taste, in most cases, people cheer for the heroes instead of the villains. And now it's almost like, well, we got Negan away from the dark side, now we don't want to give him back. Even though there's people that still think it's very deep-rooted that eventually he will turn back into that. So I don't know that I have the full answer to the question about, how do you make this have sticking power and appeal to a larger audience? It's a good point. Jason says he acted the same way in that movie Rampage. I mean, he acts that role very, very well. They're all great answers, and the participation night, absolutely incredible. Do me a favor though, hit the like button if you guys like these deep-rooted debates, and I think it's a fair conversation with Fear the Walking Dead. I mean, I'm sure there's writers, I'm sure there's showrunners that are, how do we get a bigger piece of the pie? How do we drive that into the story a little bit more? And, kind of back to what Ella said a little bit earlier, right? And many people made the argument, it's not The Walking Dead. But is it good? Is it entertaining? It's good enough. I mean, if you ask my personal opinion, is Fear the Walking Dead great? No, it's not. It's not a great show. It's a good show. Can it be great? Maybe. But it's been 5 years, and I don't think it's great. But I am entertained by it. I wouldn't go out and say it's my favorite show on television, but I'm very loyal to The Walking Dead. I'm always going to be loyal to The Walking Dead. And I don't think it's bad. I think there's parts that have been annoying. So, we're going Freestyle Friday, Princess Pie. She's like, in your opinion, is it fair to say that Negan got the best villain introduction that makes us like it and want to redeem instead of Alpha? Negan got the best villain introduction. He did something that disturbed a lot of people. And it took a lot of work to get him back to the point where he's at right now. I mean, once again, he cared about Carl. He let his guard down against Rick at the end. He killed Simon prior to that. He killed Davy. So all these things that he did were his redemption tour. Then he was locked up. Then he saved Judith. Then he saved Dog. I mean, there is not really much more that he could have done. I mean, I guess he could have delivered Girl Scout cookies to everybody in Alexandria, but they really gave him the full gambit to get us back there. So it took a lot of work. I mean, just for killing Glenn and Abraham and dancing around, and I'm being facetious because that was a big deal, but just for those two things, he certainly had to do a whole lot of stuff to get us back this season. But yes, his intro was scary. His actions were scary. And the story was about Negan. It was about oppression, and it was about, keeping this group down and making them beg and for everything that they had. It was about just their livelihood. And we did not like that. We wanted them to get that livelihood back. Well, Fear, no, they're like free birds. And let me say this, okay? I'm going to state the obvious first. Fear is of the Walking Dead universe. It's not supposed to be a semi-comedy. They have Dwight and Morgan. Dwight and Morgan lived through the Negan days. Okay, so it's not a different show. It's the same universe. All right, with that being the backdrop, I want to take you guys back to a particular scene. So last season, while the Ozzy and Sadiq and Tara, right after that had happened, do you guys remember when Alpha and Beta had surrounded Daryl, Michonne, Carol, right before Alpha took Daryl on that long, long walk. You guys remember when it was dark and they were completely surrounded? So I want you to get in that moment for a second. That was uncomfortable, right? I mean, didn't we think that, oh man, Carol's going to die. Oh no, man. Michonne's going to die. Oh, they got Daryl surrounded. You know, Daryl kind of gave that look to Carol right when they were leaving, and you didn't know. I mean, now our common sense told us like there's no way they're killing Daryl. But you still had that moment where one of these people are going to die. So I want you to think about how that made you feel. Now, I want you to put Alicia, Lucy, Strand, and John in that exact same scenario. I don't feel like I'm going to have that intense panic moment. These are the same universes. Some of the same characters. But the vibe is not the same. E. Beach. I question the longevity of fear. The recent story arcs are not long-standing arcs. We're always looking for somebody. We need a long-term villain. Commodore says, I wouldn't blink an eye. Different writers understand. But I'm not even talking about whether or not somebody would die. I'm talking about, are you going to feel that sense of impending loss in a pit of your stomach just because these people are surrounded? And you know what? I'm going to give you a few moments, all right? Did you guys feel that way when Beth died? Let's retrace a little bit. What was the vibe when Beth died? Heartbroken, right? What about Herschel? What about that moment that the governor decapitated Herschel? Because of the connection we had with Herschel and watching Maggie's reaction to what happened with Herschel. What about in Terminus when we thought Glenn was going to get the bat? And you see like somebody beside getting whacked right beside you, and you think, oh my God, it's just a matter of time before they get to Glenn. Terrified. I mean, look at the words we're using. Shocked, terrified, angry. Okay. They're all good answers. How about when Travis fell out of the helicopter? I can't even say this with a straight face. Um, Bye. I mean, okay, there's a couple people that were upset. E-Beach, Terminus was a great story arc. How about Chris? How about Travis's son? You guys remember him? They're like, who? So, I guess the bold prediction, I'm going to ask you guys this because it has been 5 seasons. If we're saying we think we need a villain, will Fear ever deliver a villain? Will they ever develop a lineup scene or a Terminus scene or a John, June, Dwight, somebody that we just have the slightest connection to? I think that's really where our bold prediction, maybe instead of trying to predict the storyline, or I'm sorry, the next show, maybe we need to predict the overarching concept of the show. Is it going to go for another season and tie in the Commonwealth, or is it just going to be something where it's just about making society a little bit better? Case in point. Who's the last semi-major character to die? I think it wasn't a Jimbo. Wasn't it the beer guy? So, how did Jimbo die? How did Jimbo Beerbo die? Do you guys remember? Well, he jumped. So technically, yes, he was bit. But his death was uplifting. It was so even the one death that they've done, and I'm being completely serious here. He was bit and he sacrificed himself. So even the deaths on the show are meant to be lifting of the spirit. So that's why I'm not sure. I thought we would see a villain, but I don't know. It could be about the tapes, and it could be about the transition. I mean, those are all great points. And I'm going to catch flack for it. I always do. I'm not criticizing that strategy. I'm not saying that just because I think it should go this way that they got to do it this way. That's not what I'm trying to convey. I'm trying to understand what the show is. Is there a theme to the show? Like with The Walking Dead, even with Preacher, with other shows, I can give you a theme. With Fear, I want to feel like I understand what the show is about. E-Beach says, kills. They're really not going the other route and returning Madison. Lots of noise on YouTube about this theory. Opinion. There was an article that came out on Screen Rant about that and touched on the same thing. Now, let me say this. The showrunners have confirmed that Madison is dead. Let's let that sink in for a minute. I'm going to say it again, just for impact. Not me saying it, not a theory saying it. The showrunners said last season, Madison is dead. Dead. Okay? That's our basis. Now, they have not said she's back. There's some writing on a tree, and other people have talked about it being her. Not the showrunners. The showrunners have said she's dead. Now, let's just say, let's humor the entire world for 1 minute. Let's say out of complete desperation, somebody brought her back. How do you do that? How do you say, as a trusted person on a show, she's dead, she's gone, and then find a way to bring her back? Other than saying, we lied. We just decided, you know what? We didn't have another story. We couldn't survive without her. We had to bring her back. I don't know an argument for that other than the people talking about it must not have watched the same Talking Dead episodes that I watched when they said she was dead. She's gone. So I mean, you brought it up. It's not something that we've entertained here. It's not something that I think we would seriously discuss. It's something that other people are discussing. And the more people talk about it, the more people talk about it. So, a little bit of the point that I was trying to tie in, and saying now that I have always thought Fear has needed a villain, but I'm not sure that they're going to give us one. And I know this is a long way to answer Princess Pie's first question. Of what could they do? Well, they wasted the Logan oil-filled gasoline story that was hyped up. So, what would have been more impactful? Logan being evil, kidnapping Sarah, killing Sarah while putting her on the radio. Oh man, we would hate Logan. Or would that be some shock and awe? Or Sarah driving around with a minor role, making a couple corny one-liners on the radio. I think if they would have vilified, if Logan was a little darker and a little more evil, and he would have killed or captured one of those in the beginning and ran the story in that direction, instead of Logan and Sarah have a face-to-face, she blocks him in, doesn't want to let his truck go. We found out he's a little weaker, but we thought he had a master plan, and his master plan is this oil field. Well, we're going to see it in episode 9. Nope, we never saw it. All we saw is him get kicked out of the back of a truck. So I would have thought that could have been a little bit more of a direction that might have propelled it a little bit more, the evil storyline. Valar says kills. The showrunner said that Jon Snow was dead, but he came back. Sorry, had to add that. It's a great point, Valar. But Jon was dead, right? Albeit for a brief moment. And the magic and the witchcraft and all those things had the power to bring him back. Well, if we had a sage or someone that could bring Madison back, and then, yeah, we could do it. We're going to have to really go back in time for the Madison story, though. Crawfish, how come no nuclear reactors melted down yet? Boom. My nuclear physicism is a little bit... I don't have an answer for that question, Crawfish. How much does a plane propeller weigh? I mean, I thought they were heavier than that it would have, anchored that balloon a little bit more. Not that much, Ellis. You can just tie one on to the side of your hot air balloon. Princess Pie, can I make a statement? There's one thing that bothers me in Fear. There is no villain except time and situation. Maybe they need someone who's going to be really scary in a psychological way. So, thank you. Thank you for saying that. Because I'm still not sure that they're going to have a villain. But if they do, that's the prediction I want to get with you guys. Like, talk about some traits or some introduction. How would that person be presented? Because I don't see it right now, and we're on episode number 9. So, even if it's somebody that turns on them as a traitor, who? None of them are that dark and twisted. Jason Mixologist super chatting. What's up, Jason? Kills. I think the real villain are the people Morgan's group think they're helping. Every person they seem to help runs into trouble with Logan's group, so that group will eventually go after them. So, Jason, I certainly can see that. But the more goofy scenes I see with Logan, the harder it's going to be for me to go from comic relief to fear and psychological terror. So the question I have for you guys, even if Logan is a pawn, if I say the name Logan on Fear the Walking Dead, first thoughts, what comes to mind? Not much. That's a good answer. Meanie butt. Okay. Logan is a meanie butt. I don't think I've ever heard Negan referred to as a meanie butt. I don't. So, in all seriousness, Logan tricked him, got his stuff. Not even sure. Crawfish. Stumped kills. Yeah, my nuclear reactor knowledge is, I'll brush up on it before the next stream, before tomorrow night. He got punched in the eye. He got his rig dropped in. He's had guns drawn on people on a couple occasions. Never shot anybody. And now with Wes, he's like, you know what? I wanted this oil. They threw me out of the truck. My boots are messed up. And you know what? Now you're going to call him for help. So now he's using Wes to get his revenge. But kind of back to that example I gave you guys a little bit earlier. Even if Logan had Morgan and Dwight and all of them down on their knees in a lineup and he was walking around with Lucille, I still don't think that I could fear Logan. And because of Logan's character, I don't even know if he has a more scary, evil, psychologically tormenting boss. But because Logan is so weak, I don't know that I can start out fearing his boss. I'll give you an example. Simon was legit. And he was reporting to Negan. Beta is legit. And Beta reports to Alpha. So you can't have like one goofy person and then, well, you can, but it just makes it harder to believe that the villain is serious because he's letting this goofy person run around and carry out all his tasks for him. Beta's going to get stuff done. Simon is going to get stuff done. Logan at best is sneaky. So, Eric Beach, Army, let's get real. Fear needs to run into a no-win situation like a Negan lineup. They need to put under a thumb that they cannot live that way. Well, Eric and Ellis, if they were trying to scare us, I would have think they would have at least tried by now. And that's where I'm not discouraged by it. I just think I have to shift my narrative, which is why I want to ask you guys point blank tonight. Do we think that Fear is going to ever have a villain? And I think we're mixed on that. No, you're right, Jason. I fully agree with you on that because I thought that motorcycle gang, that Negan was going to be mixed in with that. But even still, question for the group. It was Timmy, right? When Sasha, Abraham, and Daryl were all confronted by the motorcycle group. I was a little afraid that something was going to happen to one of them. Everybody that reported to Negan, I felt they were no nonsense. And then you add Simon in there, and then you add the rest of them. So, no doubt about it that we can't. We like the show. We like the show. We watch the show. We support the show. We're not going to make it into something that it's not. I mean, we're not going to force the writers to change that. I'm just hopeful. I'm hopeful they do, because I think it would add more entertainment value to it. Commodore, don't need a Negan lineup. Need to be original. And Crawfish, I think that's the point that Princess Pie was making, that you don't need to beat somebody down with a bat. If there's enough psychological torture in there. The reason I brought up Amy from Passage is because we had a connection to her, because we didn't want her to be taken or to be abused, or we sided with her because they were out to get her. So those are the things that audiences will rally around really quickly. As I said a little bit ago, the longer you make it comic relief, the less likely a villain will be introduced, and even less likely a villain will be taken seriously. And I do feel like they're trying. Because, I mean, you got Alicia, and she, in theory, is infected, and she's on a shorter timetable. And then you got these interviews, and these interviews did have an element of I guess, depth and darkness to them. And I was kind of inspired by the interviews. Honestly, I felt like the interviews were more creepy than the TV show. It made me think that there was something lurking around the corner. And then I watched the show, and I just was like, well, maybe we'll see it, but I'm still not seeing it. Wants to see Ed. So which tape, which character are you most looking forward to? Viola says all of them. A lot of people looking forward to seeing Clark. And you know what? In fairness, I think best case scenario is the next 5 or 6 episodes, you get a piece and a little bit more, and they get closer and closer. And then maybe on the season finale, some twisted, sinister person kills John. Maybe that would be a rallying point for next season. Tammy Heitzman says, I just want to know if Kills or Will wins the bet. You know what? I'm feeling good about episode 16. So, just curious, and I said this was going to be a shorter stream, and it actually, we got off topic, but it's good because we had some good, I think, strategic debate and good conversation. So I'm going to ask a point-blank question. Other than Grace, because I think Grace is a goner. So let's just say, other than Grace, every character on Fear the Walking Dead makes it through to next season. What are your thoughts? I just want to know. I'm not going to try to influence the question. So let's say Grace kind of goes off, she dies, but every other character survives the last 7 episodes. No, I'm not asking if you think it'll happen or not happen. I'm saying if that were to happen, what would kind of be your reaction? And it's mixed, right? Some people are saying bad move, don't agree with it. Some of you think the tapes could be tied into the Rick. Well, yeah, I mean, certainly with Isabel and the tie into the Rick movie, yeah. I mean, at the end, when they say Althea puts all the pieces together in episode 16, I feel like that's going to be a transition to the Rick movie next year. Why not? I mean, why not play on the popularity? That's the type of thing that's very interesting. But I hope there's just more to it than that. That's all. I'm going to tell you, CJ and Earl, watch out for them. There's some CJ, Earl, and Ed. Those three, there's some bad dealings going on with those three. Watch the tapes. There's some shadiness to them. They're sketchy. How they met, how they protect each other, what they've told each other, what their history is, what they'll do for each other. There's some deception going on there. Just something to keep in mind. Hey, everybody, we're going to wind this thing down because many of us have to get a lot of rest tomorrow because if you guys don't know, we're doing Freestyle Friday. I'm hoping that all of you are going to be there. We're going to talk about a Walking Dead topic, and then it will be complete randomness. We'll change the topic. It'll be contests and events and hot potatoes and back and forth. And we are going to do a small segment tomorrow night of Play Dead Live, so we're going to do some scenarios. If you guys like role-playing on a zombie-type setting, tune in tomorrow, get another taste for it. It'll be the 3rd time that we do it. We're going to have some interesting situations that we put people in, and we'll start doing that a little bit, and then we'll be all over things. It'll be just, You guys have been here. If you haven't been here on a Friday night, check it out because we have, Kel, do we have a ballpark of how many Kills coins we gave out this week? It's a lot. 20 maybe? So many of you that have them, get in tomorrow, use them. You can give them away to other people. Let them come up with a conversation topic, or you can use them in the Play Dead Live scenarios. Real quick before we close this thing down, 15 to 20. So we're going to allow people to use their Kills coins tomorrow to get into the gameplay. And if you have Kills coins and somebody is in a scenario and it's a dark, dire situation, you can actually use yours to change the narrative. So you'll have options. Somebody surrounded by fire, maybe there's other things that they can discover using your Kills coin. So it's going to be completely modular. We're going to add to it as we go. A lot of fun. Every scenario is unique. Everything is different. And it really relies on your strategy and your quick wit and your decision making. So I want to thank all of you guys for being here tonight. An hour and 15 minutes. Like I said, it was going to be a short show tonight. I was expecting about 30 minutes. But great conversation, great participation, great chat. I love when these are some of my favorite streams, honestly, is when we really start drilling down. This wasn't even a funnel stream. It was just more the psychology of the show and what we think about it, what we feel about it, all of those things. And certainly appreciate the individual strategy and your ideas for the show. We don't always agree on the strategy of the show, but we don't have to. I mean, that's the thing, is we're all going to enjoy different things. We are entertained differently. So, I always look forward to seeing what you guys appreciate about our show and what you guys appreciate about the Walking Dead TV show. E-Beach, Sunday's my birthday. Love to have coffee with Kills. There won't be coffee with Kills on Sunday morning, Eric, but we will do coffee with Kills Saturday morning, and we'll do a reaction video. So we'll have to give you some shout-outs on your birthday. So happy early birthday as well. So let's wind this thing down. I want to say thanks to all the Patreons. You guys can see them top left-hand corner. They just do a ton of stuff for our channel. You guys are absolutely amazing. The Green Team, thank you. If you guys could just show a little love, Green Team, for Wilson's emoji and also Hippo in the House, our super fans. The moderators, Emmy, Steph, Tommy, Kells, thank you for everything that you guys do. And we had a lot of super chatters tonight. So just a real quick shout out to all the super chatters that got their comments included in tonight's video. We got Princess Pie had a ton of super chats. Thank you. Valar, several. E-Beach, several super chats as well. Captain Crawfish, thank you. Jason Mixologist Daily. All of you guys getting your thoughts in here. Definitely appreciate it. And hopefully we can do the same thing again tomorrow night with a little Freestyle Friday. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night. I will talk to you tomorrow night. Remember, at 8 o'clock. It's always earlier on Friday night. Talk to you then. Peace.